Okay, I'll just start off, and people can be confused when I'm talking halfway through the beginning. Anyway, yeah, Austa sends her apologies. Some family stuff came up this weekend, and she just had to skip the session. We can either have another player control Juniper this fortnight, or have Juniper run off to go do some off-screen errands today.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yep, sure. It's like before. Second order of business. Welcome to the game, Alexis. I'll be introducing your character in the opening scene. You might be jumping into some roleplay immediately, but it'll be just some easy, light stuff, and we'll ease you into the mechanics. Don't be afraid to ask questions and various other things about how the game works, and you'll hopefully have a fun time. We're all here for fun. And as for last fortnight, thank you for your patience and understanding and waiting for me to get my act together. Vancouver was very fun. It was good to see my family again, but hopefully we'll be on track to continue more or less consistently from now on. But all the same, if you guys, have needs outside of the session which take precedence, I completely understand. Just let me know.
Nothing takes precedence over D&D.
D&D for life. And with that, we get on to the recap of last session, and it was... I was originally gonna write up and say it wasn't a session where a lot of stuff happened, but actually a lot of stuff did happen. Started off with you guys still in the aftershock of Nethys' Omen, with his big old scary prophecy he did through the High Priestess, and you guys decided, fuck that, let's go visit Tanglebraid, because she's a cool chick, and Juniper got to meet all the jolly people out in that shrine in the Autumnwood. In fact, Juniper was the only one who didn't stink of metal, so she got to meet the Elkin Lord, who's the guy behind the obelisk that they're all gathered around, and he's all around a pretty chill guy. You got to learn that he's guarding the wall of wood to keep things out by keeping things in, and various other vague details. And when you got back, you got invited to meet with Captain Hockett, the captain of the guard in Pascaly, and he gave you a copy of a hobgoblin message that they found in the camp while they were trawling through. There's mention of these things called Canelings and taking them to the Horde Heart, and this guy called Kanos shall rise again, and it was all very ominous. And you guys rolled really well on your knowledge history and ended up having read this other Rato story, which made its way over to the kingdom in very, very, very obscure circumstances that you guys just happened to be in because you got the higher DC. And even though Prince Othukkax wasn't around to get the lower DC because it was actually part of his culture, but there's a Ratan story of Canis and Unari. That's this very Beauty and the Beast-esque thing about this demigod called Canis who marched across the land and the sea conquering everything with demons and stuff, and then this woman called Inari had him fall in love with her and convince him to stop his warring ways and all this other kind of stuff. As you came out of there, you ran into Sir Elmo Keeve, the half-orc knight. He was going to ride back to Samark, the capital of the county, capital of the duchy, and the origin of a lot of you guys. And he was going to inform the Duke of the local goings-on, including your heroism. He asked if there were any messages to send. Lily had a short message to send him. Mission accomplished, but there's still work to do. He's pasted across an aircraft carrier, as it sounds. And also, Sir Keeve warned about the road ahead for you guys possibly being unsafe because the patrols around Pascaly had not been able to keep completely thorough with all the raids going on. And there might be some big, ugly beasts around the place. But he also mentioned that the party can count on Sir Elmo Keeve's help in the future if they cross paths again. And also Max went off to canoodle with him privately about another message. And Lily, going, ooh, what's he doing? Decided to nudge Juniper in the side and go, hey, could you eavesdrop on their conversation for me? And there we learned that Max may have to leave soon. There's another person coming to take his place in due course, and shit may or may not be going down where he's needed elsewhere.
No, Max.
And yeah, later on that night, when Juniper relayed that message to Lily, she was very upset and cried into a pillow, and Eifer came and comforted her. It was all very touching. Anyway, flashing back to where we were before, the Abbatic Temple of Pascali, you guys decided to check that place out and read some romance novels and search for the Canosanari story, and it had hobgoblins in the image, in like the splash image that it had before the story itself. Then you finally went upstairs to meet the bedridden and now conscious head priestess, Jacintha, who had all the pertinent books and was desperately trying to make sense of the omen she was possessed by. And it was all this stuff about boundaries between worlds weakening and like physical rules of these things are being accepted, and that the Nethesian omen was very likely to be meant for you guys in the party because this purifying ceremony was largely in your honor. And I think that's all you got up to before you retired for the night at Mayor Basson's. But then, Juniper told Lily about things. Juniper and Lily had a sort of friendship, maybe more moment. And then Eifer had a bad dream where she saw a laughing giant monster guy with a golden wreath around his head marching up a plane in arms and armor towards her with an army of hobgoblins and fiends behind her. And on this plane, it was all very, terrifying, and things were going down, and she was all alone. And then suddenly, a dude with the same description as the Elkin Lord spoke from behind her, something very foreshadowing before stepping around her to fight the oncoming army. Then Eiffel woke up and passed her DC perception checks to hear Lily crying, and it was a very, very comforting end credits scene. Does that sound about right for everyone?
Sounds right to me, because I was the only person who was actually there.
Alrighty. So, now today is tomorrow. And I'm glad I have the calendar set up because it is Sarin Day, which is the equivalent of Sunday in this universe, the setting we have, which means not only do a lot of religious ceremonies happen on this day, but in particular, those who worship Sarenrae, that being Maximilian and Aiden, have a special sunrise ritual that they have to see through. And it is at this sunrise ritual, it's held in the at the Erastic Temple in Pascali.
Lily would have wanted to get up early for it as well, I think.
Yeah. You definitely know that Maximilian makes a point of doing this every single time, without exception, so you'd know to follow him out. And as you're leaving Mayor Basson's place, Maximilian he notices you following him, and he looks at you for a little bit, and just asks, "You coming to supplicate to Sarenrae as well this morning?"
Figured I might as well watch.
Very well. And he wordlessly goes off to the Erastic Temple with you, where a number of priests in blue and white garb are already preparing. And it's not really a big flashy affair like the purification ceremony was. The Erastic rituals tend to be a bit more low-key. But Max appears to be looking around for someone, and off of probably nearby is a new face with black hair and fair features and armed and ready for an adventure. Now, Aiden, you probably would have gotten to town, if not this morning, then the night before, in a contrivance of the plot, because we've only been here a few days, and it takes like maybe a week or two to get over to Pascaly from where we were. I'm going to contrive that you were meant to be coming with us, but you had something keeping you back at home for a day or two that you had to see through. And, oh, right. I should give you access to Juniper's sheet. And now that you're here...
Teleport crystals, maybe.
Well, that's the thing about teleport. It's a very high-level spell. Now that you're here, you spot Maximilian's eye. He comes up towards you. Aiden, I presume? He tells you.
Yes.
I'm glad you could make it. I originally wanted you to come along when we left, but it was at such short notice. I understand you had things to do. Still, you are here. It's fortunate you are here. When I heard about the circumstances of your induction years ago, I was unsure what to make of it. That holy symbol that appeared to you, and that feathers and so on. That's a strange scene, but I'm no theologist of deep study, but I did not think it was a coincidence. I also believe that bad omens may be confounded by good ones, and we witnessed a bad omen just yesterday, and a call to action. Now, I wanted you along because I trust you. I know you are skilled. But I want you to accompany my charges, to guide and protect them like a sun in the night, just as Saren priests are meant to be, just like your training taught you. And Max turns to Lily. So, this is the first one. Have you met Lady Lily Colwyn before?
Please, Father Max. I'm just Lily here.
I don't think I have specifically.
And Aiden would know that Lady Lily Colwyn is currently the heir to the duchy, which is basically the lord of a lot of land, and particularly the city which you live in, Aiden. So to see her like being kind of humble and not noble-ish is a bit weird, but then again.
Nobles are weird anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Father Max.
Yes, Lily?
Accompany your charges, you've said?
Yes. Aiden is going to be staying with you.
And with you too, right? Father Max.
He's quiet for a bit. Then he, after, looking down, putting his words together.
You're not going to leave me here, are you?
Lily, there is something which is happening, which is beyond the threats of what we have here. I have to see to it, for it could be something rather dire. This is not a simple matter. If it is not what I think it is, I will be returning forthwith. But I have to ride out to see it myself. And that means that I am going to have to leave you to independently see through your mission, with Aiden's help, and the help of the others. Can you do that?
Lily kind of clears her throat and looks off to the side. Actually looks like she can't speak for a moment, which is a very rare sight. I'll do my best.
Max puts a hand on Lily's shoulder. I know you can. I'm sure is giving Aiden a side eye. Just sort of, I know this is probably awkward and you don't know what's going on, but Max brings up a smile, says, I don't have to leave yet, though. Still have this morning. Speaking of which, Aiden, Lily is not the only person you shall be accompanying. There is also Miss Moabaka. She is Lily's friend. There is Prince Othukkax of Rato. Keep an eye on him. And Miss Juniper. I know little of her particularly, though she is skilled. These people are important not just because of any social rankings, but my personal auguries continually hint at great challenges for them ahead. Kingdom-shaping challenges. All the same, as I said, there are more tangible threats on the horizon that I must see to personally. You're competent and committed, so that's where you came for this, Aiden. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Good. I think we should get to the brazier now. And Max gives you, Lily, one last look, and
Father,
then...
if I may, could
Yes.
I assist with the ritual? I know I don't know all the steps, but if you're going to be leaving us...
He thinks for a bit and breathes in and out. I'm gonna have him roll something real quick.
I almost want you to have me roll knowledge religion to see how badly I screw this up.
Okay. He nods, and what he does is he leads you both, Aiden and Lily, to a pile of tinderwood, and hands out some of it to each of you. And Aiden, you know exactly what to do. You've done this pretty much every Sunday for as long as you've been inducted.
Have I?
But Lily, you're going to have to roll knowledge religion.
Hey, she's watched it a couple times.
Yeah. I'd say that's enough to pass it. So this is a this is a sort of guiding spirits to the afterlife type ritual. What the priests do is they gather around braziers, and what they do is they get the coals going pretty well, pretty warm in the cold morning air, and just as the sun rises on the horizon, they chant incantations and get little bits of charcoal and write names of the recently deceased onto these little pieces of tinderwood, and as they are chanting, toss them into the brazier. And this is intended as a sort of beacon for the dead to follow up to Sarenrae so she can guide them onto the afterlife. It's a great way to keep evil spirits from snatching people's souls, also they say. And Lily is able to perform it without slipping up or saying anything wrong or doing anything wrong.
Oh good, fewer zombies.
Yeah, huh?
Hopefully.
I forgot to reveal their tokens. Anyway. So anyway, we're after the ceremony, you'll pretty much be heading straight back to Mayor Bassin's. where you've been staying. And
Lily's gonna try to interject at some point where they're mostly private.
yeah, go on. We'll probably... Well, Aiden's going to be following along for us,
Yeah.
with us all the way to the house.
Oh yeah, I expect Aiden's gonna overhear all of it.
Okay. So, as we're leading the way and Aiden's trailing a little bit behind you, might speak up. I don't know.
Why didn't you say anything?
I said something now, didn't I?
Before.
Because I was not going to leave you until Aiden had come. And I had to confirm a few things. As I said, this is not a simple matter.
I don't know Aiden. I know you.
You trust me, don't you?
Of course.
You can believe me when I trust Aiden. She has talent, devotion, and fate on her side.
Lily casts a glance back at her.
If you trust me, Lily, you will trust her.
You're a follower of Saren Ray too, right? Aiden?
You asking this, Aiden?
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
How long have you been serving for?
Shoot,
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm going to turn your volume up a little bit. What was that?
I forgot. I actually forgot. Give me a second.
I thought it was a while.
I think I've got on your character profile here. You're like 22, and you joined when you were, what?
2.
7? Wasn't quite that early, I don't think. But
I thought I put it in my bio, but it's empty right now.
I've got the bio you sent me.
Well, it's been at least more than 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good enough for...
Yes. Yeah, it's exactly 5 years.
Okay. Liz gonna look back at Father Max. Are you going to come back?
If it's in my power, yes.
She's gonna stop and put a hand on his shoulder and then just give him a hug, which is a bit out of character for her with Father Max.
Yeah, I imagine this is a sort of boundary, but Max isn't shocked for too long. He sort of gives you that sort of paralyzed stiffen up, and then he just sort of pats you on the back up, like returns the hug.
May the light of Saren Ray go with you.
And with you. But we're not saying goodbye yet.
Let's get back to the others.
Mm-hmm. So we get back to Mayor Basson's. People are starting to go about their days a bit more than now the sun has actually risen. Including the rest of you getting breakfast. I'm going to say that Eifer is indeed sleeping in. You left her sleeping in bed because you probably didn't need to wake her before sunrise.
Yeah, I snuck out.
Mm-hmm. But probably Juniper's getting breakfast, but Othukkax. Now, a couple of sessions ago, Othukkax, immediately after the purification ceremony where the big omen happened, your character got rather miffed.
Yes.
And went off on a huff, which prompted the next session to sort of just be a hanging around town and various other things day. But what were you doing yesterday?
I think Othukkax actually went out on some kind of hill somewhere and did some kind of meditation / dance / battle thing in order to like refocus. He had like a very basic understanding of like the gods in this new culture and thought them more of like a fountain of power. But when the gods like show themselves as like real entities with wills and stuff, he was shocked and kind of disgusted.
I see. So I imagine you would have gotten back to get to bed, and probably, would you say you're up for breakfast now?
Yes, he would be like lounging around. If there's a divan, he would like lay in it,
Mm-hmm.
like with the arms like hanging loosely, probably being fed like grapes by one of his servants.
Naturally.
When Lily walks through the door, she's gonna look at him and be like, "Oh, you're back."
I never left. I was in the hills.
Sure, that's what you call it. Okay. Next time, if you leave us and don't tell us where you're going, it's very possible we might just leave you in the hills. So, just check in with us once in a while, okay?
Certainly.
And Aiden, as you're walking in the door, so the various faces that you see, Lily is, of course, this strongly built human woman with sort of dark brown hair. Juniper, eating away probably at some pancakes or something, is rather strange. I'm going to say that pink hair is not unnatural in this world because we have 2 PCs with pink hair now. Yeah,
I think she's intended to be a little more red. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might just be the color balance then.
Yeah.
But anyway, so pinkish reddish hair. Another human woman sitting at the table, munching down pancakes. She's a bit more curious looking, like she is not the kind of crowd who normally hangs around in these spots. And Prince Othukkax is particular because his hair is not only a sort of blondish yellow, but also quite lustrous, if I remember right, quite shiny.
Yes, it's like it's naturally oiled and like metallic, so it looks more like
Picture Hunger Games, more or less. That kind of sheen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's quite clearly a foreigner to Esden. Esden's the name of the place here, or the name of the kingdom. And yeah, speaking with a foreign accent, holding himself with a foreign composure, and attending to him are 3 servants.
Yeah. Did you have those tokens?
2 male, 1 male. Yeah, 2 male, 1 female. I'll paste them over just a moment.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily all have to be in the room, but just to get introductions out of the way.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just a moment while I get this in order. There they are. All right, so Maximilian half turns to catch your eye, then calls out to the others. I have someone I'd all like you to meet. This is Aiden Stormwind. She's a cleric of Sarenrae.
Stormwind?
Is that a prompt for a roll, Lily? Or
No. She's
I mean, you could roll if you like. We'd just be making stuff up on the spot.
I was thinking like having a last name might indicate something. But
I could roll. What do you got? History?
Whatever would matter to family names. So I guess history.
Yeah, I think it's
There's
history
not
because
nobility in this
nobles
system.
gain that proficiency.
Yep.
5! I don't think she knows much.
Right, so Stormwind sounds like something out of a storybook, but not anything you've heard of when the Herald is, slamming his stuff and announcing people in the court, so you have no idea.
No, she's just kind of like, your name is Stormwind. It's an interesting last name. But then again, so is Callan, so...
Othukkax kind of like jumps up from the divan and like makes a bow gesture. Greetings, Aiden, Stormwind.
Aiden bows back. Hello.
So you will be traveling with us.
Yes, I will.
No matter. These are my servants. They speak less than me because they are not as familiar with the language, but this is Narexat. She handles more sophisticated tasks, and old man Xalpu here takes care of my animal. And then I have Unut. He's my manservant.
Your animal?
Yes.
Each of these servants will bow their head in supplication.
We have an elephant.
Oh.
It's very subtle.
It's not in the room, is it?
The elephant is down outside of the stables because I wouldn't imagine it would fit. But
Alright, good.
Okay, I wonder if, roll a perception skill check, I reckon. Aiden? So you got the character sheet up for you?
I'm trying to find it. Yeah.
Second tab is skills. There you go.
Right, I'll say that's enough. So
what's
you
the
didn't...
stealth roll of an elephant, anyways?
That's not trying to hide. So I'll say that's enough because an elephant is fairly easy to see. So you did spot this weird shape just sort of half outside of the stables when you're walking into the house. You're not sure what it was. It was just these two huge grey legs sort of supporting a very large quadrupedal body with a tiny little tail just sort of flapping out between them. You've probably never seen an elephant before, but then again, you might have studied various animals of the world.
Yeah. People of this culture would probably not even know the name, but I guess I would have whatever name that his culture would call it. It would be elephant of some kind.
Yeah. There'd probably be like tales of barbarian invasions on very strange beasts, and they probably just learned one of the words from those stories. But nevertheless, Max clears his throat to try and get past the weird elephant in the room, and says, "Later today, I'm afraid to say I will be leaving myself. I will be heading back to Samark. I've already made Lily aware of this, but it means we will be parting ways for the foreseeable future.
Lily's expression doesn't change at all.
Aiden is more than capable of filling my role while I am away. I expect you shall treat her with the respect she deserves and make use of her talents.
Certainly.
I suppose we'll have to see what her talents are first, but you can be sure we'll make use of them, Father Max.
Very good. Now, I will, for the sake of speeding things up, say that Juniper made conversation with Othukkax to basically catch him up with the goings-on of last session, just so we don't have to do that with too much time. So, the information in the summary that I spoke at the start of the session, Othukkax is now filled in on. But unless anyone wants to do this, do anything else in this scene, we can probably move on to head to what the party's next move is going to be. First of all, if there's anything anyone wants to do in the town of Pascali before you guys leave, because I believe you have a prompt to head on to Kurum.
Is there... I don't think there's really much reason to do anything else in the town. We don't have any unfinished business, right?
Can't think of any.
Does anyone want to buy anything? I think we've pretty much all situated everything. Yeah, I don't have any money anyway. Lily probably would want to talk to Aiden and figure out more or less what she does. I assume we can off-screen that, but basically figure out what her capabilities are in comparison to Father Max's.
Yeah, sure.
Basically just grill her. Nicely, of course. Yeah. Yeah, by that I mean the opposite.
All right. Well, just so Alexis doesn't have to go through the entire character sheet and name everything, we'll say that Aiden is less of a ranged fighter than Maximilian is. She mixes it up a bit closer, but more or less she's got the same capabilities. Thing is, though, she is quite clearly a studied healer in all the proper, in the academic sense. She's got a lot of knowledge about that kind of stuff, a lot more than Max has let on that he would have. There's a specialization, and you can't name anything that you've seen Max doing that Aiden hasn't indicated that she can do.
Is it evident that she is better at healing than Father Max is?
Roll insight.
How do I have a flat bonus on this? That's not good. 3!
Wonderful. Now let me just get the character sheets up
She
so I
just
can
sucks
work
at
out.
everything, right? That's what I'm seeing.
It's all a front.
What's your main weapon, Alexis?
I think it's a mace. Let me check again. Yeah, it is.
And you have a shield?
Yeah.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the typical cleric.
So, yeah, Lily, I would say with that insight roll, you have let your you've let your bias, you let your biases control you a bit, because you've basically confirmed to yourself that Aiden is just never going to be able to replace Max. She's quite clearly, weaker, not as skilled,
Obviously.
a bit nervous, not nearly having the presence that Max does. She wasn't around when you were growing up, and she was never your mentor, and you don't have the history with her. Like, who does she think she is butting into this? Like, she's quite clearly just a poor substitute. And this is in spite of Aiden probably,
Doing her best and actually being really good.
Yeah, exactly that. And Aiden, in return, I'll just say your passive insight will get this. You can very easily tell that Lily's on your case for reasons beyond your experience.
Lily is not impressed. She's just got her arms crossed and rolling her eyes whenever you do anything particularly amazing. Good luck.
Skillful, I see. And at such an early age, compared to Maximilian, you have quite a future ahead of you, I assume.
Yeah, if we can shape her up. I guess you'll do for now.
We were talking about leaving this village or city. I don't know what you would call it. A small town. Okay. So where were we heading?
We're heading to the town of insert town name here. And Father Max, can you fill us in on that?
I shall assume the role of exposition.
Thank you.
Also, as a reminder. Sorry, I keep saying but you guys last time figured out that the omen that was sent to you alongside all this stuff you guys took in about the Wall of Wood and the Elkin Lord, his guardianship and various things. There was some kind of pact that was signed between the chieftains of the classical version of this kingdom and the guardian spirits of the Autumn Wood to do some kind of thing after something unspecified. The Elkin Lord had forgotten what this was, and he can neither read nor write, so he has not written it down. But he knew that the chieftains back then in that classical time did know how to read and write, and they must have put those records somewhere. And after questioning the head priestess about it, she was certain she learned something or other about this omen or some of its elements back when she was a novice in Kurum. The Kurum is a city. It's the capital of this county, County Kurum. So this is Kurum City. Thing about Kurum, though, it's a lot larger, and it has a few more, noble elements going on it. It's not especially too far away, but still, probably about 4 days away, something like that. And you might be able to find some more information at the cathedral there, the Abbatic Cathedral, because the Abbatics very much like their record keeping. And yes, you have to spell Kurum with the smiley face. That's just silent.
Do you have to say it with a smile? Because Lily's going to mispronounce that a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, Maximilian, in his more refined tone, tells you this.
So it's a place of learning, I assume, then.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, we have to go to a library or something. My character has bad intelligence, so I'll let you guys remember all that.
Your Eifer's still sleeping in. I'll have you remind you.
Yeah, let's
Juniper
all
will
leave
remember, I'm
now.
sure.
Looking towards Narexat when the topic of scrolls and books and like calligraphy comes up. Like, this is your burden to bear. Othukkax like doesn't read much.
I imagine Narixat is used to that kind of attitude from you, so she just takes it in a stride and just nods respectfully. I shall help however I am needed, Master.
I suppose if we're going to leave the city, we ought to wake up our other traveler. Lily will head upstairs and wake her up because she's actually the only person who knows where she is.
Mm-hmm. It was perfectly innocent, everyone.
It was, actually.
Yeah, it was wholesome. So, yeah, you wake Eifer up. She's had some bad dreams last night, so she was a bit groggy, but, get some breakfast into her, she perks up.
So, one thing to add, Aiden, this is a tiefling, which is important in the story.
Ah, yeah, so, walking down the stairs is another woman with pink hair, this one with a bit of a smaller face and smaller features, but she has a pair of horns sticking out of her head and some lined makeup on her face, quite pointed ears. This you recognize on sight as a tiefling. Now, tieflings are... I'm not sure how much you read in the player's handbook, but in this world, no one really knows why they are born as this way. They seem to just be born from natural births randomly. But weird thing is they have horns, they tend to be resistant to fire or whatever, and they have these weird connotations to them, these sort of bad luck type connotations, and people often associate them with devils and demons and other fiends and things like that. But they're just, if you meet enough of them, then they're probably just regular people to you. Eifer in particular is a servant of the Keep of Samark, where Lily lives. So you probably haven't run into her unless you've had some classes with Maximilian, in which Eifer may have sat in or watched from a distance. But I'm not sure how much you guys would have interacted. All the same, Bit 16 is not here to properly flesh out the roleplay, so it'll be abstracted for the moment.
And Lily is walking down side by side with Eifer, essentially treating her as an equal, which is rare, especially for Lily. And
Yeah, another weird thing for nobles to do is treat anyone who isn't a noble with respect, and this is a tiefling who is normally ostracized by society, so it's an even weirder thing. But Aiden, how do you react to Eifer and all this stuff?
I guess a bit nervously, I'm not sure.
It's a fair response, sort of in the presence of a bunch of people.
Curiosity, maybe.
Yeah.
Also, tieflings are kind of associated with demons sometimes. I think they still are in this setting, right? Like, we don't know where they're from.
Colloquially, yeah.
Yeah. So you might think of tieflings, like, in a racist manner, as evil. So
I guess a bit suspicious, but since she's been around with Maximilian, it's a bit better.
Yeah. The good thing about your faith, Aiden, is the erastic faith is a bit more forgiving and understanding than the abbatic faith. So you're probably a bit more chill, and particularly Sarenrae has a lot of notions of forgiveness and redemption about its stories. So you being an exemplar of that faith, you'd probably have that quite close to your heart.
Okay.
Lily would go through the introductions for Eifer as well.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't have to voice Eifer. We'll abstract that away. Anyway, have you guys got any other things you want to do before you go?
Lily just wants to move on.
Yep. Sure. So you guys mount up in the stagecoach.
She actually would write a letter to Mayor Basson thanking him for his hospitality, which is a lot easier to write than to say at the moment, and and then just send it with somebody. Doesn't matter who. It'll probably get to him.
And that doesn't stop Mayor Basson and his wife Iridia from personally seeing you guys off anyway. He'll be very excited to, saying best wishes, thank you for everything, and all the wish you the best of luck in your travels and whatever your missions may be. And he's going to be very intense about it because that's the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
But probably not comfortable for Lily. Maybe a bit ingratiating for Othukkax, which he may like, but I'm not sure.
He's probably at some point can't accept flattery.
Yeah.
Or at least his persona definitely exhumes liking flattery, at least.
Lily's does not, but she's willing to bear it and just wait impatiently until he stops talking so they can leave.
Mm-hmm. And Aiden, all this is going on without a bit of context, so I suppose just it'll be on the road that you hear about what happened beforehand. But anyway, Maximilian conspicuously does not mount the stagecoach with you guys. He queues up to wait for all of you. He'll give Lily another big hug, sort of whisper a good luck into her ear, and the blessing. I know you can do this.
She'll just nod and is very obviously not saying anything. If you want to roll insight, I can tell you why.
Mm-hmm. I'll just get that up while I talk the other ways. And he'll give Eifer another hug as well. And he doesn't normally get this open about this kind of stuff.
So, I think she's able to hide this from everybody else fairly well, but Max can see right through her. But she is definitely feeling pain, and she thinks if she says anything else to him, her facade's going to break.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're doing a very good impression of a stony face, but maybe he can sort of feel it in the tension you're holding in your body while he, embraces you.
To everyone else, she just looks like a standard noble greeting someone farewell.
Mm-hmm. So he'll, when you guys are parting off, he'll ruffle your hair like he did back when you were young, and then move on to the rest. And Leslie said, give Eifer a big hug as well, because they've sort of been intertwined. Similar sort of blessings and well wishes. Moving on to Juniper, you'll shake Juniper's hand and wish her luck as well.
I'm expecting Juniper's watching him hug the other two, and she's got her arms wide open for him, and he just grabs her hand and shakes it.
Yeah, unfortunately, unless she presses the issue. And on to Othukkax. Maximilian again brings out a hand to shake your hand, Othukkax.
Othukkax beer hugs Maximilian and the whole banging on the back of the his hands too hard hitting on the backside and goes back and puts a shoulder on Maximilian's shoulder and like nods. Was it was a pleasure being around you, Maximilian. Well met. Have pleasant travels further.
And I was glad to find that your skills are indeed true. I hope you can continue to prove yourself worthy of the company of these people. And
I
all
will
the best to you.
endeavor to try my best to do that. And yes, thank you.
May Saren Ray's light warm your heart.
Yeah, Othukkax climbs up onto his elephant and
Onward to adventure! And Max will end with Aiden, giving her another handshake and mentioning after a moment to again collect his words, because the GM apparently needs another cup of tea, says to you, you may be faced with quite a few strange things in your future, in your near future. I wish for you to watch over these people and help them as if they were your own family, because some of them are my own family at this point. But I am confident that you will be able to do so.
Aiden seems a bit confused when you talk about her future, but otherwise nods and shakes his hand back.
Mm-hmm. And he will gesture for you to get on the stagecoach with everyone else. Unless you want to ride the elephant.
She looks at the elephant in a confused way, but gets back in the stagecoach.
Mm-hmm.
why don't you join us up here, Aiden? It's a wonderful sight when you're this far up.
Lily's in the stagecoach and just kind of rolls her eyes at him.
Aiden stares at the elephant again before looking down, getting back on the stagecoach. I think I'll save it for next time. I think I'll save it for next time.
Rain check.
That is fair. And you guys with Unit singing Hyar and getting the horses going and the elephant trailing the way, and I guess you guys will trundle off. And as you're going through the streets of Pascali, the people going about their morning routine stop to take off their hats and wish you all well, with words or without. And you make your way out of town.
Lily gives a few half-hearted waves as they leave, but as soon as they're outside of the town, she's basically just stoic and staring straight ahead.
Mm-hmm. So let me gather you all up. Oh yeah, should we, who wants to control Eifer, by the way?
I can do anything.
So you want to control Eifer and Juniper in this session?
I can do that. Juniper's pretty easy if you want to control her. Eifer is going to take some effort. So it is up to you. You no longer have a character to control aside from all of the enemies. So
I'll give you access to Eifer's sheet,
okay.
and I will control Juniper for now.
Okay.
Also, could I have possibly gotten some jade dust in this town, or
Jade
was it available?
dust.
Yes, it's a spell
Jade dust?
component. Yes.
Roll investigation, because that's a little
Is it a
esoteric.
spell component that has a cost to it?
Yes.
I can't think of a spell that does that. That's interesting.
Yeah, roll investigation, Othukkax.
Could I have gotten help from one of my servants in looking for this? Possibly giving me advantage?
I'll say that your servants probably don't know the town well enough for that. However, you can get Mayor Basson to help you, so go ahead and take advantage.
I will certainly ask him. Let's see, I think it's rolls with advantage as it is set up.
Mm-hmm.
A 12.
So, what amount of, in gold pieces, how much jade dust do you need?
Like per spell use, 10 gold pieces. But I was looking for like more than one use.
Okay. So you managed to find yourself I suppose it would be like a healer's house or something, because there's not really a shop for magical things here, but there are things where magical stuff is sold, ancillary. I will say that you managed to find 20 gold pieces worth, and no more than they were willing to sell.
Yeah. This was more of there wasn't even anything up front in the storefront, but more like his personal stash, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, for the store owner, yeah. Easily done. So yeah, you would have been able to do that yesterday. You had plenty of time.
Could I bite into our shared gold a bit for this? Because I only have 15 on my sheet right now.
And that's up to the rest of you guys. JB, Alexis, would you be okay with Clayproof getting 5 gold out of the shared stash?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sure.
We got 500 in there. 5 is nothing.
I don't think I've used any of mine that I started out with.
Yeah, I don't think we quite finished inventory.
Inventory is still in a state of flux.
Yeah.
Sure, you can see and edit the actual party loot stuff and the handouts, but yeah, seems like I've still got it on all players. All right, so as you guys head out, you certainly feel a lot less threatened going through the land. Already, farmers have come out to try and reclaim their homesteads and are rebuilding. There's even just been a day people are laying out foundations and digging up and cleaning up. The damaged land is getting its scars bandaged. As you're heading out towards Kurum, it's mainly boring for the most part. It's just trees, there's the mountains you guys are all used to. I suppose there'll be plenty of time for conversation. So, little chats. You probably have time to fill Aiden in on what you guys have been up to while you've been here, while you're at Pascaly, the previous town. But that would, be up to all of you.
Lily's just going to be pretty much passive this ride. She's going to be thinking about everything and processing it. So
so where are you from in this land? The east, the west? Are you from a city? All this from atop the elephant, looking down at you,
shouting out across the countryside.
My sheet again. I made this 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's been a month for the rest of us too.
Sorry, Othukkax is very, let's say, forward.
Where is it? I don't remember where I put it.
I think you didn't specify a particular spot
Yeah.
in the actual
It
backstory, but
it
I
doesn't
think
really matter. This is just Othukkax like being sociable.
I guess it's the same place Max came from.
So the place where Max would have been practicing his priesthood at the moment is Samark, which is where Eifer and Lily also come from. But it's a big city as well. It's plausible that you could come from there. So it would be a similar story in to Lily and Eifer's, except that you would have been living outside of the castle, probably in, you know, an all right quality of life. And then when you were, well, it depends on how much you reveal, but you know, the various events which led up to you joining the temple of Sarenrae.
All right.
Are you fairly open about your experiences, or do you just sort of nervously remain coy?
Like, I think the elephant's a bit distracting, but I guess I'll say it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll let you talk that.
Aiden tells how do you pronounce that?
Othukkax.
Othukkax about coming from Maximilian's area and how she started practicing after receiving an omen.
Have you got your bio there, or are you still looking for it?
I think I found it.
Cool.
So one of these gods spoke to you, or was it less obvious?
It was less obvious, but some people came and explained it afterwards.
These beings trying to influence us mortals. Well, you have your ways. There are ways to gain power without having to bow your head, you know.
Aiden nods quietly at this, not sure what to say.
Well, I did not mean to pry. I have nothing to say against your culture or of any kind, so I am here as a guest. And as they say, when you are in a foreign land, you follow their rules.
When in this setting's equivalent of Rome, do as the Romans do.
Yes.
I would say that your conversation is broken off as you guys are going into a sort of narrow section between what appears to be like a sort of outcropping that's fairly tall, about 20 foot tall on your right, and a thicket of forest from the autumn wood to your left. Suddenly, sort of catching your eye is a woman running out onto the road in a panic and hyperventilating and waving you all down. And I'll say Unit's driving the coach. He sort of stops the coach as it's happening. And
Lily
she
would
sort of
immediately jump out. It's like the first time she's moved at all.
This woman sounds extremely panicked. Just like, please help me, they're taking them all. They've taken them all.
Calm down. What do you need?
They took it. They took my husband and my daughter. We were traveling to Kurum. They came out of nowhere. Big elk-headed creatures with axes. They've dragged them away into the forest. Please, I need your help.
Which direction? She grabs her sword.
She points into the forest to your left. Hey, they were just there, just a minute ago. They were following me before.
Lily looks back at the group. Let's go, guys.
Surely there are
Let's go,
gods who know
Othukkax.
something.
I will transfer you guys to the map.
Lily's like, there is no room for arguing here. Surely there's someone else. No. I assume Lily's probably up here talking to her. Is that okay to move?
Yeah, you guys can move to whatever
Okay.
spot would be convenient for you guys. But I'll say Eifer and Juniper follow you, Lily.
Yeah, Othukkax definitely runs down as well. He was just complaining.
And Eifer's going to remain standing on her head until Bit comes and fixes it himself.
I have fixed it.
Alright, Alexis, so can you see the battle map we're on at the moment?
Oh wait, okay, I see what's wrong. I was scrolled to the black part on the top left, and I didn't know it loaded in.
So you should see Aiden's
Yeah.
token next to the stagecoach. You can click and drag her around.
There you go.
So unless there's any other actions you guys take, the woman leads you back into the forest as fast as she can. So they may still be able to be safe. Please help, come.
Lily's on her heels.
Cool.
Othukkax would like to roll some kind of inspection on this lady.
Lily's too
Okay.
distracted for insight
You-
right now.
Are you trying to like inspect her as in see what
Is
she's carrying, or just get insight on her, or what?
insight probably. Like, is this a like person trying to fool us?
Yeah, roll insight.
$11.
This woman is so obviously panicked that you're not quite sure if she's even capable of lying at the moment. She's just got this genuine terror on her face, and she's almost crying how desperate she is.
Well,
What would be Othukkax's impression of this?
yeah, he would like, I guess, are you not protecting your lands properly?
We couldn't afford bodyguard. We were just trying to get some seeds for the next season. And at that, she gets about here in her sprint, and you guys would, if you're still on her heels, it's about this point that you would all notice a sort of odd creaking to your left, which is not quite what a tree branch is meant to sound like. Aiden, are you catching up with them, or are you just hanging back?
Oh wait, yeah. confused.
Just run down the road. Bye, guys.
I'll watch this direction.
hmm
Whoops.
And it is at this instant that you guys are drawn to the sound, and it's oddly familiar to those who have worked with the dead before, because it sounds like the creaking of bones. To
Welp.
your left, silently holding what
Welp.
appears to be a very similarly wooden axe to the Elkin Lord, is a creature standing at least 12 foot tall, hunched down, with a huge humanoid body, legs which end in hooves, kind of like in cloven hooves, and with a big skull head, which appears to be that of of some kind of large deer, complete with huge antlers. This skeletal figure has a few vestiges of flesh and fur upon it, but it's rotting and sort of with insects crawling around it. And without even it flicks its head towards you, and without even calling out in a cry, its jaw just sort of hinges open, and its legs pound on the ground as it starts to charge towards you. And thankfully, because its stealth check was so awful, you all get to roll initiative along with it.
Nice. Can Eifer check to see if it is undead? It looks undead, but...
On her turn, she may.
Okay. Initiative. So when you're rolling initiative, click your token first, and then click the big initiative button on the core stats.
Which one's the initiative button?
It's in the middle right, top middle right, on the core
stats screen.
Yep. It's a big gray button.
Yeah.
Next
yeah.
to okay. There you go.
So everyone's on there. I'll just sort it real quick. Okay, so first up is Lily. Now you wanted to make an
You're cutting in and out a bit.
You wanted to make a knowledge check, didn't you?
Just for Eifer. Lily isn't good with this sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So she's gonna just bull rush the thing.
Go for it.
Sadly, that's not an ability. So she's going to rush at the thing and then whack it. And let's see how this goes. Yeah, and she's going to try to trip. Nice.
Alright, so you hit for 14 damage and get plus 8 damage. That'll bring you to 22 damage. And it has to make a save. Let me just refamiliarize myself with all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this thing is large, so it is definitely vulnerable to it. So, you throw yourself into the fray and knock the blade of your greatsword against this thing's leg, and it sort of chips off a bit, and it has enough momentum to it to knock it off balance and sort of make it tumble to its side.
Nice. I'm going to action surge and hit it again.
Where is a good icon for prone?
I use the
That'll do.
yeah, the like third row of icons where someone's on their knees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that one will hit as well for another 10 damage. So you, along with swinging momentum of your greatsword, you bring it down upon this thing's skull. It's incredibly thick, but you still manage to give a great big chip off of it. How this thing is moving at all is not in your understanding. It's actually really, really friggin' creepy.
Do I
Is
get
that your turn?
any? Do I get any feeling of fear or anything like that from it?
No, that's not something this thing does.
Okay, that's it.
It's just unnerving. Yeah, so it'll be Juniper's turn now. And Juniper, I wonder if you know stuff. Not really. Doesn't seem that she would. Because you're in melee with it, I suppose she'll run in and try to hit the bastard.
She can use her bow and also get advantage from rogue, or not rogue.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Sneak attack.
Actually, yeah, that's
Not
right.
advantage.
I reckon she'll just do that because she can't really reach at the moment with anything else. So she'll go here and try to shoot the bastard. And she will... I didn't declare sharpshooter, so she will hit for 5 plus 5 damage.
12
10 damage.
hits. Nice.
Yeah, this thing is big and not particularly nimble. And, gee, I reckon I'll just bonus action dash her around here because she's a rogue and she can do stuff like that. Othukkax, it's your turn.
Yeah, I guess I will move in now.
Oh, he's prone, so anything ranged has disadvantage. Not that it matters for the last shot.
Mm-hmm.
I move in. I have 40 feet of movement because I'm attacking this round, but it did not really matter. So I will just attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I will use my... I haven't really done anything big about this yet, but I will use my blade flourish for a defensive flourish.
Okay. What does that give you again?
I can put it in the chat, I guess.
So defensive flourish is...
Yeah, I use my bardic inspiration dice essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a good idea to break this into 3 different class actions so that you can show it a little easier, because there's a lot there to read.
That's true.
Cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target you hit. Okay, so you're adding it to the AC or the damage?
Both.
Oh, yeah, also, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, roll the dice. It's an extra 2 damage. Got a 2 AC for the rest of the round.
So 11 bludgeoning damage. And I have 20 AC until.
And your blow, actually, you get him square in, like, its forearm, and your hammer just outright snaps one of the forearm bones off, and it seems to have a bit of trouble hefting its weapon after this. The weapon you're using is particularly effective.
Yep.
So it seems that a bludgeoning type of blow is more effective.
It would seem that way, yeah. Aiden, it is your turn now. What would you like to do against this great beast? Oh yeah, actually, sorry, Othukkax, did you want to try and roll religion on this thing, or what?
If I could.
Sure thing.
Othukkax likes rolling. He's not that great at everything, but this is some kind of like foreign thing.
Oh
You've
yeah,
never
these are pets that we have walking around all the time.
You can pretty easily tell just by intuition this is some kind of undead creature. Like, nothing that looks like this is natural in the world. But you don't know what kind of creature this is or how powerful this undead is. And Aiden, it's your turn. Would you like to make a similar roll for religion in order to try and find out more about this creature?
Sure. Let me just.
Mm-hmm. So you know a bit more about this. This appears to just be some animated skeleton. They're not normally very intelligent or particularly strong, but this one's made out of something big. And just by the laws of big things being better and more dangerous, this one is better and more dangerous than your average skeleton. Still, it's not going to try and outwit any of you guys. And the thing about skeletons in particular is even though they don't really have any metabolism, so you can't really poison them or, do other bodily harm like that, they tend to be made of bones, and bones break under bludgeoning weapons, which is probably why Othukkax's weapon was particularly good for the job.
Maces do bludgeoning too, right?
That is correct.
I guess I'll just use that then.
Yeah, sure. Do we have the distance required to run up to this thing in just your move, though?
Oh yeah. How do I get it so the distance shows? Never mind. It does.
You use Q. They changed the key binding.
Yeah, so if you hit Q, I think it selects the ruler tool for you, and you can sort of click and drag from one square to another to see the distance.
Okay.
Yeah. And you release the Q every time you want to make a dot. You don't hold in the key.
Okay.
Right. Wait, does Q select the tool, or is it just do extra things? I think you see the circle with the little sort of dotted line coming out of it?
Yeah.
On the toolbar, that's the ruler tool.
Oh yeah, I see now.
So you're
how much did I move again?
So you're 35 feet away, and your movement speed, I think, is just 30 feet.
Okay,
So you might be just out of reach, but you have plenty of spells and ranged weapons and other things you can do, so you can pick from them if you like.
Move over here, and I need to find that spell. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. If you just name drop it, if you're using a spell, you can just name drop it to us, and we might know what it does already.
I'll just use Guiding Bolt.
Guiding Bolt's good. In fact, I think Maximilian has Guiding Bolt. I can probably just have him cast it for you, and you can just use the result there.
I found it.
Oh, there you go. Unfortunately, that was an 8 for an attack roll. Wait a minute, did you add the right stat to that? I can't tell because the actual roll macro itself is a mess.
Yeah, if you look down halfway towards the bottom, it says floor 18 minus 10 divided by 2.
Oh, yep. Okay. So, as you sort of bring this, I don't know how you want to describe the spell, but Guiding Bolt is a projectile that you cast out of your hands or whatever other implement you want. And streaks towards the enemy. Unfortunately, your aim was a little bit off, and it zooms over the creature's head, just as Othukkax sort of brings its arm low. And the tree behind it is struck and lights up very brightly for a short moment.
I don't think this makes Lily like me much.
It's okay. Maximilian didn't land any of his guiding bolts either.
It could be worse. It could be Othukkax for the last 17 tries. Besides the last one.
Yeah, it's so you still have a so you used your spell on that for the action. You have a bonus action as well if you'd like to use it, or you can just end your turn here.
I'll just end it.
Cool. It's Eifer's turn now.
All right,
Does
Eifer.
Eifer want to roll religion?
Eifer wants to roll religion. Where is it? 18.
All right, so Eifer knows a little bit more about this thing. You can make skeletons out of pretty much any complete set of bones that you have. The thing about skeletons, though, is they aren't created just out of nowhere. Normally, someone or something animates them. Some kind of necromancer or someone who's trained that way. And let me see if I've got any other information. So this thing, skeletons can see in the dark. They are immune to poison and exhaustion and stuff like that. This guy looks like he could charge pretty nastily with those antlers of his. But you guys have already closed the distance there, so you're just going to have to worry about the big axe this thing is wielding. But it's curious, she still doesn't recognize the original creature that this came from. She can roll... how about she rolls nature now? So this is very strange because... so there are a number of sort of beastly creatures around the place, especially in the Autumnwood, sort of half man, half beast type things. This one appears to be a Minoelaf, which is a curious creature because it is not normally aggressive outside the Autumnwood. It tends to be quite territorial, but semi-intelligent. It's basically a deer or a deer or elk version of a minotaur, but considerably more docile and sort of less cruel and malicious.
Any sort of elemental weaknesses aside from bludgeoning?
Just bludgeoning.
Okay. She's going to toss an acid splash at it.
Roll.
I'm just checking the range. Range is 60, so boom.
She actually hits with a with a goddamn cantrip.
Maybe. He has to save.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's not an attack roll at all. It saves on the number.
He has disadvantage because prone.
It's still on the number.
Yep, okay.
That's unfortunate, but someday, Eifer, someday it'll be useful. So, it is the Minoelaf skeletons. It's a really weird mouthful. I just call it Minolaf. The Minolaf skeleton's turn. It's going to get up. Lumbering and sort of not feeling any pain that it's been struck by, despite the many blows that are sort of chipping off bits of its bone and skeleton structure. It hefts up this huge battle axe that appears to be made of wood, but is sharpened up really good and is stronger than it looks. And he's going to attack randomly. So Lily's on 1, Othukkax is on 2.
Come at me, bro. Yeah.
Lily, prepare yourself. So Lily, a 25 hits, right?
Oh no, I've got 27 and a half AC. Yeah, that hits.
The axe swings down faster than you had anticipated, and knocks you to the side with 21 points of slashing damage.
Come at me, bro. That hurt.
And let me just get a sec. I need to fix something up real quick. Creeping out another set of creaking bones. Sounds out just loud enough for you guys to hear behind you.
That's not a problem. Not a problem.
Another one of these Muttonhawk skeletons, this time, has a lead up to charge into your rear. And does so right into Eifer. It lowers its antlers as it barrels towards her. Oops, wrong macro. Oh, and she is lucky. She dives to the side at the very last minute because this guy rolled horribly on his attack roll. And Eifer is unscathed as this thing skids to a stop and pulls up clods of earth in the effort. And let me just do something real quick. Excuse me, I closed a window that I shouldn't have. Now everything's in a mess.
That's the fun part about DMing, having so many windows open. Stuff all over the place.
Especially with only one monitor.
I suggest investing in a second monitor.
Probably just need a proper desktop PC. This is a laptop.
Ugh. I know somebody who had who DM'd with a laptop and a computer both running the game at the same time, just so that he could keep everything straight.
That seems legit. Alright, so behind you, the voice of the panicking woman, she sort of stopped and covered her mouth as you guys engaged in combat. But right now she's sort of backed off a little bit and sort of ducked behind the Muttonhawk skeleton that just came out of the bushes. And suddenly her face sort of twists into a very vicious sort of grin, a very unnerving look, as Lily gets struck and some of your blood spills onto the ground. And she starts laughing a little bit under her breath, which eventually escalates into a high cackle that I can't really do justice unless I want to piss off my neighbors. So.
Oh, do it, please.
Maybe later on in this combat, but right now she is cackling at the top of her lungs and points out to Aiden. Let me just get the right thing. Come on, where is it? Your gods will not help you now. I want your blood, and your blood shall coat the earth to summon the Kinot Nam. You have no chance now. As her voice carries along with it and her cackle carries along with it this really awful sort of crushing feeling to your very psyche. And I need to select the right token for this. Right, so Aiden, I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw. So on the core stats screen, there's a save button next to wisdom. So you managed to, with your mental fortitude that you've trained over the years, you're prepared for this. You're not going to be brought low by some wicked, deceptive creature. And you do not take the ill effects of this spell that she has quite obviously been casting. And I need to just really quick get the order right. And we're at the top of the round, and it's Lily's turn.
How's this guy looking right now?
The guy in front of you?
Yeah. Chips?
You're wondering how he's still keeping himself together
Okay.
after that blow he took to you. That seemed to have compromised his structural integrity as much as it did yours.
I would drop my greatsword and pull out my heavy flail that acts as a mace. And she's going to swing it around and just try to smash this thing over the head.
Well, you did it. You smashed it good. You get it square in the rib cage and manage to give it flail chest, even though it doesn't really have much more of the chest but the ribs itself. And this seems to unbalance its spinal column enough that it just stumbles and tries to keep balance off to the side and just crumbles into pieces.
And she is going to immediately run over next to the other guy and use her second wind ability to get some HP back.
All right.
Yeah, minimum HP back.
Cool.
Well, it's some. She takes another hit like that, she's down.
Yep. Now Juniper. Juniper's just gonna zip around, but I think it would be pertinent for her to pull out her rapier and engage this meanie woman in Mortal Kombat. So she does so.
It might be smart if she moves here.
Whereabouts? I wasn't looking.
I can't see where you're pinging.
I was on the
Here, did you
wrong
say?
tool. Yes.
She doesn't want to be in melee range of the big guy, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking of using like Dissonant Whispers, so there might be some free attacks, but she might not even have a weapon out. If she doesn't have a weapon out, she should move up to the top.
Oh, you're talking about opportunity? Tax of opportunity?
Yes. Like, it's very effective if we all can use it.
Okay. Yeah, she's getting her rapier out, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the Muttonhawk skeleton has its big axe. You don't see the peasant woman carrying any weapons. But yeah, Juniper's going to stab this woman. And she does so with 19 points of damage.
I don't think she gets snake because there's another creature next to it.
Ah, right, yeah. I'm thinking of the Muttonhawk, right. So yeah, she deals 11 points of damage. And I think she needed to use a bonus action in order to get that close, so she is not going to have an offhand attack. Even though, wait, she only has one weapon out anyway. Doesn't matter.
Othukkax moves in and uses Dissonant Whispers.
And a notable thing about the strike with the rapier against the woman, she's the peasant woman does recoil in pain a bit, but that was a stab like proper between the ribs, and she is not even like coughing or anything like that.
I
But,
forgot I wasn't attacking this turn, so I don't get 40 feet of movement, so I'm recalculating.
Yep.
I'm just trying to find a way to attack, but I might not be able to. You can squeeze through people, right? But no.
Yeah, you just can't end your turn in their square.
Yeah, I will have to move forward without. Let's see. I'm just gonna check something. What weapons do I have? No, I don't have anything with range. So I'm just gonna move up here and cast Dissonant Whispers.
Go for it.
Spellbook.
You casting it on the woman or the skeleton?
The skeleton. It's
Cool.
not a fear effect, so it should still work.
Well, funny thing about 5e undead, they don't actually explicitly have immunities to psychological stuff.
Yeah. Well, some have immunities to charm, but not.
Yeah. It's not like Pathfinder where they're immune to everything under the sun.
Yeah, they removed a lot of the classes of spells as well.
Yeah, which I'm happy about. It makes it lighter, but let's do a save for this poor bastard. This skeleton fails its save.
Yeah, and it will have to move away from me, so I would guess that would be like
Because
here.
it's not like a fall or a knockback. This is actually willful movement. It should
Yes.
provoke Othukkax opportunity.
Exactly, that's why I have it on my melee character, because it's essentially as if I get an attack action by spending my reaction.
If it were a knockback, then it would not provoke.
Yep. So you sense a bit of intelligence or just a scrap of sentience underneath this animated creature, and you whisper out to it. And
It's the whole like talking in abyssal thing that Othukkax does on the like psychic level.
and this creature gives you a small token of attention before it starts like quivering and thrashing its head around. And that kind of violent movement seems to have hurt it.
Yeah, it should move away as well from me.
Okay. Does it do it on its turn or immediately?
No, it uses its reaction.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me just look up its actual movement speed. Yep, 40 feet. So this thing is going to charge away from you guys as fast as it can, barreling into the woods.
Is it half a speed or full speed? Oh yeah, as far as it can move. Yep.
As far as its speed allows.
Yes.
So
what I was going to ask, is the woods difficult terrain?
yeah, but I think I've given it some light blocking, so I might need to just delete a couple of those. What do you call them? Dynamic lighting borders.
Yes.
Great, it's all one shape.
Yeah, I
So
expected
feel
that.
free to make your various attacks.
Okay, well, just a fair warning for you guys. I haven't made this particularly sophisticated in the stage production here, so you're going to see things a bit less thorough. But
You
this will
can-
just be for the sake of convenience anyway.
You can toss another line like behind it here if you want to move people through the dynamic lighting, or that works too.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to spend 10 minutes putting in new lines. So there you go. It'll be
Yep.
difficult terrain in the foliated areas.
So we get tax opportunity.
Yep.
Mhm.
Every single one of you except for Aiden, because Aiden is not adjacent to the creature.
And I did not have movement enough, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Crit.
And everyone hits.
That deals an extra 1d6, which I'll roll. He doesn't have crit set up correct.
Oops.
1d6.
Okay, so that's going to be 15 plus 21 plus 26 to 33 to 37 points of damage all up.
An effective dissonant whispers.
We all did 11
Oh.
damage. I did double that because bludgeoning. So.
Oh, is vulnerability double damage?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 1.5 times. Okay.
No, double. So
Okay, so that'd
including
be an
dissonant
extra.
whispers, it's 52.
Mm-hmm. So you guys all sort of clobber off a bit of this creature as it's peeling away from you, and somehow it still has enough of impetus in its limbs to actually make it the rest of the way into the forest. And this peasant woman has gone from very sort of pleased with herself and creepy smile brow down to just completely furious at what you've done. And is that your turn, Othukkax?
Yes, I want to keep my bardic inspirations for my blade flourish actions. So
Sure thing.
On the plus side, you're going to be able to use them more freely very soon.
yes,
Once it moves to short rest.
I see a green hag in the turn order.
That's right. Another thing which I've had to keep obscured from you guys is there's a little green hag token in the forest. Don't mind that.
Okay.
Don't
You
mind
probably
that.
you probably put 2 and 2 together by now, but you'll do knowledge rolls for the full story, because you'll be allowed to do that.
Right.
There's no green hag. You can just ignore that.
Yeah. That peasant woman, she's just an evil mage, Nothing special.
Should I go?
Yeah, it's your turn. Go ahead.
God, I need to find that spell. I don't think one of my spells are even in the
SRD.
yeah.
Yeah, just tell us what the name of the spell is and we can look it up for you if you're having trouble
Okay,
finding it.
It's on bonus move anyway.
Mm-hmm. What spell is
Let
it?
me just find the first one first.
Sure.
The one I'm gonna use first.
Cure wounds.
Are you talking about-
healing up Lily?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Healing Word, the bonus action spell?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to use your action to attack, you may want a bonus action Healing Word.
Oh,
You're
no,
not...
I'm not saying I'm using it now. I'm just
Okay.
saying that it's not in the spellbook when I looked.
Okay.
It should be.
I think it's not in Alexis's spell book. Not in
The
the
character sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah. It's in the SRD at least, so it's easier
Right.
to fill in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All the same healing words, just the same as cure wounds, except bonus action, it's at a distance, and it does D4s instead of D8s and heal.
Yeah. Yeah, you're... did we change the rule about spells at the same time? Like, you can do...
I think you can't cast 2 spells that are 3rd level or above in a turn.
Okay, so we made it so that you can if one of them's level 2 or lower.
Yep.
Okay.
So you lay your hands upon Lily, and Lily finds the sort of adrenaline away pain in your chest start to reform in a familiar way resolve in a familiar way back to normal.
Thanks, Father. Thanks.
And Aiden, unless you would like to do anything else with your turn, it will be off to Eifer.
I think I have some movement left.
Mm-hmm.
Is that skeleton still alive?
Yes, it is.
Nice. Okay.
I'm gonna not be near that skeleton.
All right. So I think we move on.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. What'd you say just then? Sorry, a bit quiet.
I said, and it's over. The turn's over. Yeah.
Cool. Eifer, it's your turn.
Alright. Eifer is just going to cast a spell. Oh, wrong one.
487 potatoes rain down from the skies.
I'm going to do Acid Splash again on the not a Minotaur.
Mm-hmm. It's going to roll a save. And it's going to fail its save this time. It takes 5 points of acid damage.
Woo!
So a conjured globule of acid sprays itself upon its shoulder joints and hisses away whatever extra mass there is, and it makes it a bit harder to move as well.
Still kicking. Eifer is just going to join Aiden in the back line.
Mm-hmm.
What's the potato spell for?
It's a joke, don't worry about it.
It's the most powerful cantrip in the game. So this Minilaf skeleton, sort of once the whispers subside, it slows to a stop and remembers its imperatives. And you sheeted on your hammer. That's not very clean.
Yeah. Yep.
On the Minilaf's turn, it remembers its imperatives and stomps around to look at you all again, lowers its head, and charges towards you. This time it looks like Juniper is going to take the brunt. And it's going to miss Juniper as well because it made another awful roll. Which is, again, very lucky because it's not a good time to be struck by those antlers that she dives out of the way of.
If only he charged me. You can't see hit points of allies? Oh, the bar. You see the bar, right? The red bar above
If
everyone's
you make
head?
it so that the tokens or like character sheets can be looked into by everybody, we should be able to.
Yeah, for some reason, Juniper's hit bar is not showing up. I think that's a problem we had before. But everyone else is the red bar as their health. You don't have exact numbers, but you can just ask us.
Okay.
Do you need editing rights in order to
No, it's
see
in the...
numbers?
It's in the... if you edit the token, it's in the second set of options. And then there's one where it says bar 1, 2, or 3 when you just change it so that everyone can see it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know why they were set that way before. Okay.
Yep. And then I would just reset the default token for Juniper.
Yep. Let me just do that real quick. Alright, we're set.
Okay.
Now, where were we? Alright, Minilaf missed. Cackling woman, still very angry. Sort of looks at Lily with a pissed off scowl. Just like, the more you heal, it will only give me more blood to summon my mistress. And Lily, you need to make yourself a save as well.
Cool.
A wisdom save.
Is this a charm effect?
I need to look that up. Just a moment.
I have advantage on charm. And I'm immune to sleep.
This is not a charm effect.
Okay.
And you manage to save. You take no ill effects. And
do I get a
let's see,
feeling
those
of
are
what the spell was trying to get me to do?
you could feel its sort of pressure upon your mind exclusively. You reckon if you were less strong, you would probably be distracted, and you would have let it really overtake and sort of hurt you. If you would like to roll something like Arcana or something, you can probably find out more about the spell.
I could, but that's not Lily's forte.
Okay. But what is Lily's forte can be demonstrated now.
Lily's gonna just look back at her and say, "You picked a bad day for this." And she's going to dispatch of this pet with advantage. Hopefully she hits. Flailing! Oh, not great. And also, let's toss in a trip. Because I can.
Mm-hmm. And you manage to get him right in the side of sort of. This thing has cloven hoofed legs, so you're able to get it in its sort of raised ankle bone joint, and just completely split it off from the rest of the body, and it just tumbles down, and it's unable to. It tries to get up with one hand, and just the rest of it sort of falls apart.
And let's see, how much movement was that? Crap, I was here.
Unless you want to take an attack of opportunity, it will be all your movement, I think.
10, 20. No, because it's not attack opportunity, it's unless you leave.
Unless you... Oh, because once you enter and... okay, yeah, 5e rolls.
So I have 10 more feet, so I'm going to run in there.
Yeah, let me just put this one to the back of the layer. Rightio.
And she's just going to grin at the lady. You're next.
And Juniper, seeing the tide very much in the party's favor, will not be discouraged by the previous blow not landing properly, and quickly recovering her balance, strikes out towards this woman.
Have her move 5 feet north.
Yeah.
Advantage.
Yep. Seems reasonable. Juniper has no NPC actions. Don't need to whisper that to the GM. Just have to change to her actual sheet because they don't have character macros up.
Good thing she got advantage.
Yep, yeah, that is most certainly a thing.
Does she
So
have a
she
dagger?
deals 16 points of damage.
Does she have a
She has
dagger?
a rapier. She can pull out a dagger and do her offhand thing, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Crit.
And yeah, that's a crit. So
Sneak does not get added,
16,
sadly.
24 points of damage. Yep, she's already snuck attack this turn. This one puts a good couple of large gashes in this woman as Juniper sort of runs into bind the woman's hand, stabs in, and then just like closes in to give her a cut under the arm. This would normally sever a vital artery, but it seems to just be dripping with this weird green ooze instead. Quite unnatural. And she's actually going to make a save at the moment.
Ooh. The hag or Juniper?
Juniper.
Oh.
And I don't think that's correct, because that's an NPC save, because I'm still using the goddamn macros. Make a wisdom save, Juniper.
Like that power.
And she is able to disrupt the illusion of this creature. And it's going to be a real plot twist, everyone, because you never saw this coming. It's a strange, gaunt woman with a hunch and this like matted, pale hair, green skin, just disgusting, putrefied boils and long fingernails that are filthy and sort of jagged. Big nose, and just suddenly you all realize the smell that she's giving off. Just an awful presence that is sort of shockingly grotesque in comparison to the peasant woman that was there before, and quite clearly wounded. But Juniper doesn't know shit about this, so she's not going to do a knowledge check. Othukkax, it's your turn.
Yep, I move up here, and I hold my action till after the green hag's turn, after which I will Othukkax will grapple her down to prone.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes. Or no, it's no use because a lot of people already have advantage, so I will just attack, I think.
Yep, sure.
Otherwise, would have been a good tactic, but no matter.
And your sort of detection of evil type thing, that's a innate thing, right?
That's
It's
an
just
action.
you don't have to use an action for it. Oh,
That
it's an
is an
action.
action.
We
Yeah.
have
Yep.
to. Let's see. Paladin.
This. As for your Warhammer blow, this woman is, despite her decrepit and aged state, she moves faster and very, very unpredictably. Much faster than you would have thought. And she actually uses her bare hand to partially cast aside the haft of your Warhammer as it's coming down, but she's mostly dodging it to the side.
That's it.
Aiden, it's your turn.
I'm trying to look for the spell again. It's Guiding Bolt again.
Sure can.
Nice.
Find it. Here it is.
Ah. It's the best spell in the game, I swear.
Good when
it just has
hits,
to land.
Oh, that's rough.
Shame.
So once again, it's just sort of performance anxiety at this point. You don't know these people. You're trying to prove yourself, and there's still a lot of danger going on. You're not quite exactly sure what this creature is, but it's really weird and disgusting. So your hands are shaking as you're trying to pull down your aim, and you can't quite make the mark. As again, the bolt streaks past, and off into the distance.
But the good news is, if we try to hit that sparrow, man, it's dead.
Yeah, sparrow off in the distance is just...
Squawk! It's now fried chicken.
I meant to do that.
I wonder
Aiden,
if I can do a thing.
is that the end of your turn, or are you gonna move? Ooh,
That
Ready?
doesn't work.
I think that's the end.
okay. Aiden would like to identify this hag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
alright.
an intelligence roll?
This will be a knowledge nature roll.
Nature, not
Okay.
Arcana. Okay.
In this case, I think it's more appropriate for nature, but
Okay.
I can justify Arcana. Sure, we can do either.
All right, she's got a bonus to Arcana, so and doesn't matter.
All right, so you've. Oh, Eifer is gonna. Yeah, okay, yeah.
What?
Eifer and Aiden know just about the same kind of amount of information about this thing. This is pretty clearly one of those wicked witches that you've seen in storybooks. You don't know exactly how much there is to know from the real life as opposed to the stories, but you know these things tend to be very... They're not natural. They're creatures... they're sort of natural. What's more likely to say is they're not something which is accepted in society. It's a weird fey creature that functions on different logic to humans, to regular people, and it's known for it has a penchant for kidnapping children to eat them, to petition dark spirits and evil things, and it's known for a mild magical talent, but also is quite dangerous despite its appearance. You're not sure why this creature's out here exactly. Your only clues on that front are what it's been telling you in its, villainous monologuing. You're also not sure how it got its hands on a couple of huge skeletons, but this is definitely an evil creature, a blight upon the land that's doing something quite awful, quite evil, has deceived you all, and would be better put into the dirt. That's the info. What would you like to do with your turn, Aiden?
I'll just end it.
Oh, yeah, cast the spell. Right. Eifer, you ran up. Were you doing an extra thing?
Yeah. Eifer is going to cast a spell. 1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Eifer is going to run up with her javelin. And is... She can't get any idea about weaknesses or anything from this thing, right?
No, she doesn't know enough about it.
Okay. She's going to cast Thunderous Smite, which gives you so much information.
Okay.
And is going to attack. So basically, the next hit that I make, I deal extra 2d6 damage, and it has to save, strength save.
Sure.
DC for this, I'm not even sure where this comes from, Cleric. So Wisdom DC is 11. Alright, and the attack. Woof. So that
Attack's gonna be a
stays.
miss.
That stays for a minute, but she has concentration. So.
Yeah, add the concentration bit for you.
All right, so I'm gonna take away that spell slot.
And yeah, again, this woman just sort of uses her bare hands to push aside Eifer's javelin. It's a smile that could floor you. And then the green hag is going to...
Oh,
Turn
she
her
has advantage. 12 still misses, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
The green hag's going to turn to Juniper and lower into a sort of stance where the fingertips turn towards the floor, and then just springs into action trying to strike at Juniper with these long, disgusting fingernails. And Juniper handily fences her hands away and does not get hurt. Lily, it's your turn.
Smack. That's Eifer's sheet. I would like to smack that booty with advantage.
Didn't know you
And
into all ladies.
it's Lily. Of course she is. And
Yep.
thwap.
That's a hit. And that's going to be 21 points of damage. She's going to save. This green hag is going to be... even though this green hag is stronger than she looks, you manage to strike her in such a way that she's put completely off balance and stumbles onto the floor, onto the ground. But despite your best strike, she is still apparently functioning, with a few globules of slime oozing from her, but no physical hindrance.
Do I have to make a save or no?
Nope.
Okay.
And Juniper's turn. She is going to slice and dice as well.
Ooh.
So that's another crit from Juniper. A particularly nasty one, actually.
I'll add that for you.
Alright, 36 points of damage, yeah. So you gave Juniper the perfect angle to this thing's neck. As Juniper, just with perfect precision, lodges it under this creature's jaw and up into its, like the very small gap between its high vertebrae and its skull, as it just severs something completely vital to it. And then for good measure, drives the dagger into this thing's chest right through its heart. And finally, after like a bit of spasming, this thing just the life ekes out of it. Its eyes go glassy. It is finally dead.
Good.
And suddenly, this little clearing on the edge of the autumn wood just seems a little brighter and just a little bit less awful. You feel as if something's been put to peace here.
Juniper, can you do me a favor?
Yeah. She's cleaning off her blades.
Can you check to see if anything of what she said is true? Do you see any footprints or... Lily's going to look around and see if she can find any villager footprints or traces or anything, but she's not good at this. She knows
Okay.
Juniper is.
Sure, I'll take a look around for you.
Yeah, I don't think she's good at this.
You're just looking up at the trees. Maybe they're hiding up there.
Looking under her feet. Nope, not there.
Yeah, anyone who wants to join in can roll, well, depending on what you're looking for, investigation or survival. Actually, investigation's more like searching for, like, asking around. Maybe perception or survival.
I can have her perceive, I guess, as well, but yeah.
So Juniper looks around for evidence of other footprints around the place. The Minolaf skeleton footprints are very obvious. That much is easy. She can't really find evidence of anything else being around here except themselves, except like everyone in the party. And yeah, Lily just doesn't know exactly what shapes and signs she'll be looking for, and maybe it's like the adrenaline of her wounds distracting her, but she
I
can't
found
quite
something.
make up
That's a
details.
squirrel footprint. Oh.
Also, a big squirrel will leave a footprint. So what are the rest of you guys doing in reaction to all this?
Othukkax is looking at this hag corpse.
Can I get that bird I killed earlier?
Yeah, sure. You travel a short distance off just to, well, in front of you at the moment.
Lily's,
And find a smoking heap of feathers looking just in rigor mortis at the moment.
Whoops.
Lily's gonna retrieve her greatsword as well.
Mm-hmm.
Othukkax is gonna like how he's gonna to like rip out the teeth or something from the hag.
Mm-hmm. These teeth are brown and really just... You reckon this creature is old, but somehow it's deliberately made its teeth more sort of weird, gnarled, worn, and just rotten. When you pick the first one out, there's even like what you think is a little termite crawling around over the top of it. It's a really awful thing.
And he like Othukkax cleans himself on the grass. That was not intended.
Yeah, this thing, its mouth smells like rotten meat.
In that case, I was thinking, these beasts of this kind usually have some form of value dead. So as much as it hurts me, we might want to keep a part of this thing for proof. Yes. Unut!
Let me just get his token. Unit sort of creeps around the trees, just very, very cautious. The way is clear, Master.
Yes, it's no, I'm not English. Yes, the beast is slain. Procure a piece of this creature, and as well as those other two as well, the skulls. And I would imagine the head of this. Put it in a sack or something.
Lily will
Very well,
offer.
sir.
Lily will offer to help obtain a skull. Make a nice
Yes,
trophy.
so these Minolaf skeletons have just enough sort of rotten sinew attaching the skull to the spine that you sort of need to rip it and twist it off a bit.
Oh,
They're
she'll do
quite
that.
large. They're as large as proper elk skulls. So they're not light things, but you can carry them by the antlers and bring them around. And as for the hag's head, you're able to slice off its head pretty easily. But it's not a pleasant thing. When you lift up its head by the hair, its sort of tongue lolls out, and its mouth and sort of the underside of its head oozes out some more of that green, disgusting ooze.
Hmm.
And Unit is very clearly trying to keep his stomach.
Lily's gonna say quietly, probably still within earshot of Othukkax, but quietly trying to not be. If you want me to do it, I can.
It's okay. If it's no matter what kind of awful poison this blood contains, my powers of my religion will keep it off of me, so I think it's safer. And he like stuffs it in a bag or something.
Yep.
Like a sheet.
We do have a. Do we have that bag of holding? We do, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Um,
But do we want it together with other things? Is the
Yeah.
question.
As soon as you put it in a bag, it takes maybe 5 minutes for the ooze to start sort of soaking the underside of it.
Yeah, so Othukkax is gonna use one of his, I guess, inventory. I guess a bedroll could do. Or like use a pouch. No, a pouch might be too small.
Pouch is a bit small,
Right.
but a bedroll, you could wrap it up in that easily.
Yeah, so I'm gonna sacrifice a bedroll to keep the witch head in.
Then it's gonna have to sleep under the stars tonight with no bed.
Yeah. The like aboleth or whatever they were. What are they called? The big elk skulls are just gonna be tied up with a rope on the elephant, like big trophies.
That's pretty metal.
Yep. Well, that is sorted.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you drape these things over each side of Latroxath, I think his name is, the big elephant.
Yep.
He's got these big gnarled antlers coming out the sides of his body now. And it's very menacing.
Yep.
All
I'm
right.
losing you.
Go on.
Yeah, I lost you for some seconds there.
Well, it's just flavor description. Just
Okay.
your elephant's looking very menacing now.
Yeah. I am working on getting money enough to like properly maybe get it some armor or something. We'll
Sweet.
see about that.
That'll be pretty expensive. It's like 8
It's-
times the cost, isn't it, for huge?
I don't know if it's specified.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's double for large. Anyways,
I think it's just double for any sorts of mounts. Let's see here.
Yeah, you guys can work it out when you need to.
Barding is 4 times the cost.
4 times. Okay.
Sounds about right. All right, so
Lily's gonna look over at Aiden and just give a nod before heading off back towards the cart.
yeah, how's Aiden feeling about this grisly scene?
Do we have to take the entire head? Like,
Just
I do
Okay.
imagine that it's harder to prove if we do not have the head.
grab the ear.
leave an odd
This
man
is-
his quirks.
Yeah.
This is the proper way of presenting your kill of the beast. In the stories, the hero kills the beast and cut off its head and presents it. It's how it is done.
I'll take it.
Who are we presenting this to, Othukkax?
I would imagine the next village on the way.
Why do they care? Are you presenting it to some princess who's gonna fall madly in love with you? Because trust me on that, it's not working so well.
It is about showing the truth and showing the glory we have achieved, and also to get feed and the rest. You are rewarded for your efforts.
We're lucky we didn't get rewarded for our efforts by them trampling us.
So you would rather this be kept quiet, that there was a witch here that we killed? Oh, he would not say a witch because he hasn't even...
You can safely
is-
call this a witch.
Which is vague enough and also incorrect, so that's okay.
That... Yeah, I don't know. He might have another definition of witch, but this creature was close to the road. Surely it must have did these kind of things before. It was fooling us from the road.
Look, you want to have a trophy of a kill, that's great. I'm not going to stop you. But just don't expect to get any favors from anybody. That's not how it works.
You will see when we get into town. It is how it works. Lily.
Whatever. Let's get going.
Othukkax smiles at her and winks.
Grumble, grumble.
Alright, if we're going to end the scene there, I will call a 10-minute break, everyone.
All right.
Because I need to use the bathroom and get a drink and everything else.
Yeah, it's getting close to when I will have to actually slink away as well. So
Yeah, sure.
If it's just the three of us, it'll be difficult to continue the scene. Just a thought.
Yeah. Given the bit's not here either, and Austa's not here, I reckon we might just call a short session this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, too many people are missing out on too much.
right.
Okay.
But yeah. Hope you guys had fun.
Yep.
I didn't have too much more planned for the session anyway. There was like a social thing after this, and then that's about it.
All right. Well, if you want, we can just call it here.
Yeah, I reckon we will.
All right.
It was nice to be able to start using the things Othukkax is built to do.
Yeah, it's nice to actually have you land the blow for once. I felt really bad for you. You were missing everything for the first 3 sessions. Yeah. But now newbie luck has gone to Alden, so Aiden. So
I rolled pretty bad in order to support this character, to be fair, but I wanted to.
Okay.
No, I have one big stat 19 charisma is very nice, but having a 15.
Oh, that's what you mean. I thought you were saying you rolled poorly on your attacks for that. It was okay, no. Sure.
No, I mean having a +2 strength is not the best.
Right. Yeah.
Guiding bolt is gonna hit one day, I promise.
Yeah, you're gonna get a guiding bolt, and it's gonna be awesome. I promise.
Yeah.
Just you're carrying on Maximilian's streak of just missing all of his guiding bolts.
So I actually had a couple of thoughts about the cleric stuff that could have been used there. Once we identified that they were undead, we could have tried to use turn undead on them, which would have made them flee. But by the time I thought of it, because I'm not maining a cleric right now, it wasn't really worth it.
You guys were hitting them hard enough.
Exactly, yeah. It wasn't really worth it to use a channel divinity. The other thing I was thinking is when you use that last guiding bolt, we had everybody flanking the enemy at 4 corners, which meant the next attack would have already had advantage, so the bonus from that would have been kind of wasted.
Okay.
So
Still would have done plenty of damage.
Right, the damage is good for guiding bolt by itself, so just something
guiding
to keep an eye out.
Spell.
Yeah. Something to keep an eye out for. I don't think you needed to use any of your channel divinities. I don't even know what Eifer's is.
think Eifer's just got her Zeal thing where she gets an extra attack.
Oh, well, I could have used that.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's a wisdom mod of use.
There you go.
So I should have used that in a couple points. And then there's this. But I didn't use fire or thunder damage, or actually hit with it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Radiance
And yeah,
of the
you got the
Dawn is
light.
That
nice.
was my that was my only other one.
That's a good one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a question regarding like racial spells and like, do they count as having them prepared if you have them as a racial skill?
As a racial spell, usually you... I think you gain them once per long rest.
Yes, that is true. But if it
You
doesn't
would-
count like I have it, is the problem.
You would have to prepare it separately in order to do that,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
learn it separately. So you get it
In that
once per rest. But if you want to do it freely, you also have to learn it or prepare it.
Yeah. So I will probably wait with the spell I learned.
Okay,
Cool.
I'm gonna cut off the stream and we can keep talking after.
Sure.
Thank you all.
And Aiden, thanks for... Oh, sorry, Alexis. Thanks for coming to play with us. It's good to have you along. I hope you're having fun so far.
I have no idea what I'm doing.